The Moon of Xxene, Chapter 4, Bitter Bystander, Scene 7. Mudiaga sits on a work table drawing with charcoal a depiction of the expression of hatred he'd seen on Kemal's face while his grandfather sands a table. He thinks about the discrimination between the castes and asks his grandfather why Xxene has a caste system. He says that they learned at the local chapel that Xxene loves all the people of the 4 tribes equally, so why are they divided into castes, and why can Donorogu do as they please to the other castes? His grandfather says things are the way they are because it is Xxene's will. This gives Mudiaga pause. He thinks of what happened to Kemal and the Nabari's parents and how he'd sent Kemal off with the merchants, and thinks of his father's death. He says darkly, "Babo, you must be joking. What kind of God just sits back and watches so much chaos?" He yells, "There's no way a God like that exists. It is people who make the world the way it is, not Xxene." Before his grandfather can respond, they suddenly hear a Nabari calling, "Mama! Babo!" Mudiaga follows his grandfather into the house, and they enter the room his mother Anabari and sister share to find his 5-year-old sister, who's had a fever for the past 3 days, looking worse. Anabari says she came in to check on her and she was like that. Mudiaga's mother checks Ximena, lamenting, "Why did she have to get worse when we don't have enough money to take her to see a physician?" His grandfather asks about the medicine he bought, and she responds that it's all gone and that they only had 50 kols left, which was for their rent, which they were already behind on. His mother says she wishes Mudiaga's father were still alive. They had hardly needed to see a physician with him around, and they hadn't struggled so much with money. His grandfather says he's been thinking about using Mudiaga's father's work badge to get a job with the local civil service office. They pay more than other places, and the income would be more consistent than his carpentry. His mother says no. First, you're too old to do manual labor, and second, I don't want anything to do with the Xxene government. His grandfather says, okay, that's in the past now. He says they still have a fever-reducing plant that he grew, and he'll prepare that to give to Ximena. Hearing their discussion, Mudiaga thinks about Kemal's words. "What about you? Are you okay with living like this forever?" He enters his grandfather's room thinking, no. From a drawer, he takes out a round bronze badge that had been his father's government work badge and permit. He thinks of Kemal, who he solemnly waved goodbye to as he left on his first trip as a labor hand, all so he could provide for his sister, so he could protect his family. He looks at the badge with determination. Anabari, who also left the room and followed him, asks what he'll do with that. He says that just helping his grandfather with carpentry isn't enough. He'll get a job at the local civil service office and also work to protect his family. "I won't live like a worm. Xxene's will be damned." The next day, he goes to the civil service office of Joba and presents the badge.